thank everyone for being here so much. This is such a special night to honor an absolutely incredible woman and her fantastic story, Monica Cora. I want you guys to all give yourselves a hand for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. I'm Courtney Underwood. I'm going to be emceeing the event tonight. We really want to thank you for being here because without you and your support, victims like us wouldn't be able to become survivors and break that silence. So Monica has an incredible story. Her book is just going to inspire you beyond words, but we wouldn't have the story we have without an amazing police department. They did such an incredible job on Monica's case, tracking down all 3 perpetrators so quickly, locking them up, making Monica feel safe, and allowing her to be able to tell her story without fearing them being scared. So I want to introduce our incredible, yes, clap. He needs no introduction, but we have an absolutely incredible police chief, Chief David Brown, Dallas Police Department. I'm sure there are many people here in this room that agree with me, but he is my absolute hero. I know he's the hero of so many community people, advocates, victims alike. The only people that don't like him are the bad guys, and that's the way to go, right? So without another word, Chief Brown.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here today. I really didn't want to miss this event because it's such an important issue in our society today. I think there's a good argument for sexual assault being the scourge of our society today. Particularly being on a college campus is important because all across the country we're seeing sexual assault come to the forefront on college campuses, and we're seeing victims show courage in coming forward to tell their story. It's a criminal justice system process when a crime occurs, and it's long, it's drawn and arduous, and it's drawn out, and it can be discouraging to victims to come forward because of the process. And the courage that we see expressed here today is really exciting because it's with a camera in public with people looking at you, tell a story of very, very violent crime toward a woman. And our mayor says this better than I can ever say it, but a man can say he's a lot of things, but you're not a real man if you express violence toward a woman. And we really want to support our victims to come forward even more so. Sexual assault is still the most underreported crime in our country. Victims suffer in silence, and they don't feel the support of the community to come forward. And so each of you being here today serves well to our democracy. I think it shows that we all really care about this subject, and we don't want to brush it aside or sweep it under the rug or have it be expressed in the shadows where victims suffer in silence. So thank you so much, sincerely, for coming out and supporting today's event. All of the things that are going to be said today is going to further this idea that victims have nothing to be ashamed of when they fall prey to these perpetrators, to come forward and let's all hold them accountable in this criminal justice system, get them prosecuted and convicted and jailed like they should be. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again, Chief Brown, and thank you for your amazing handling of this case. So as everyone in this room knows, there's a process for getting justice in our country. The police have to put together a case. Stranger sexual assaults are extremely unusual. More than 76% of sexual assaults are perpetrated by someone that the victim knows. So this was a really difficult case. The police did an amazing job of putting it all in a box and then handing it over to the prosecutors. But this was also a challenging case with very little forensic evidence. So our DA's office, particularly former DA Aaron Hendricks, did an incredible job of putting this case together. Very few reported sexual assaults end up making their way into the courtroom, and it is extremely challenging to get a conviction. So to get incredible convictions with strong sentences on all 3 perpetrators is a huge accomplishment, and we'd like to ask Erin Hendricks to come up and share a little bit.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank all of y'all for being here to support Sweet Monica. I asked Monica before I came up if she knew who Mr. Rogers was. She doesn't. But most of you know who Mr. Rogers is, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. You know, I grew up on that stuff. And I mention him because Fred Rogers said when he was alive that anything that is human is mentionable. And if it's mentionable, then it is more manageable. I think of that when I think about Monica, because the first time that I laid eyes on her, I expected to encounter a young, broken, shattered, fearful girl. But that's not at all what I encountered when I first met her. I came here to SMU, to the athletic offices, just a few weeks after Monica was abducted and attacked. And with a seasoned police detective by my side, then and now a DA investigator, he and I went into Coach Dave Woolman's office to meet Monica. Coach Woolman was very protective of her and allowed us to use his office so that she would be comfortable. I thought she would be shattered and broken, and that was fine. That would have been acceptable, and I would have met her wherever she was. But when she came into the room, this is what I met, and oh my goodness, the grace and the poise and the strength. 3-4 weeks after her attack, she sat in front of us and she had committed to writing her recall of the events of that night from December of 2009, and she handed it to me. And I recognized that I was the one who was scared because I knew the process ahead would be, as the chief said, long and arduous. But more impressive than Monica's poise and grace and strength in that first meeting was how engaged she was in the process from that moment forward. She wanted to know everything. She wanted the nitty-gritty. She wanted to know about the forensics. She wanted to know the defensive theory. She wanted to know about the physical evidence, the state's theories. She participated in the process to the extent she helped us formulate how we would present the evidence and how we would credit the cooperating defendant even. And even more astounding than her resilience and strength through the process and being willing to hear the bad with the good was how incredibly resolute she was when she walked into the courtroom and faced the worst one, as she called him, and she was right. And a courtroom full of supporters and onlookers, strangers, and in front of 12 unsuspecting and unexpecting jurors, she gave them her written word spoken out loud. And it was incredible. In fact, it was a devastating direct examination, devastating for the defense, super easy for me. I literally said, Monica, please tell the jury what happened. And it was on. Unfettered, uninterrupted, unobjected to, she told them everything. She was unencumbered by fear. She was liberated by the choice that she made the night she was attacked, released, rescued, and treated at the hospital. She said that this would not define her, and she decided that right away, and she stuck with it. Finally, what was the most incredible part of it all was not the Monica in Coach Woolman's office, not the Monica who wanted to be a part of the criminal process, not the Monica who blew back the hair of those 12 jurors and that judge and all of us, but was when I learned, then at the trial and then again now, and especially last night hearing her sweet voice on the news talk about her forgiveness of her assailants. And I will tell you that years ago, when I heard that come from her mouth, hardcore, cold prosecutor Erin said, well, I have the luxury of not forgiving her perpetrators, and I won't. But now I have been enlightened by this young woman, and I recognize that her forgiveness has been part of her peace process, and I have so much respect for her for that. She has taken what we all think is the unthinkable, the unspeakable, the unmentionable, but which is, of course, all too common and pervasive in our society, especially, like Courtney said, amongst acquaintances, intimate partners, family members. And she has made it mentionable and therefore more manageable. And she, I know, gives strength and power to other victims and survivors to come forward and be graceful and poised and resolute. And for that, she is so deserving of all of our support and love and admiration, and I am so excited to read the rest of her book. I have only read excerpts, and already I am so inspired. I appreciate you all being here to support her. I sometimes feel undeserving of her grace and her thanks and her graciousness, but I accept it. I tell my girls, who Monica knows, one of whom was just a bun in the oven as she testified so bravely before those jurors, that we are obligated to leave this world better than we found it. And I know that you all will agree with me when I say that Monica Cora is just a shining example of that way of life. Thank you.
So, without further ado, the real reason you're all here tonight, to hear from Monica Cora.
Thank you. Whew. And now I'm going to speak. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Chief Brown. Thank you all for being here. And thank you, everyone, for being here with me tonight. This is a big day in my life. I think it is the most important day of my life so far. I'm not married, I don't have kids. I said that then. But until then, I think this will be the most important day of my life. I've been waiting for it for a long time. I've been working for it for a long time. And I'm so grateful to be here today and to be able to share it with all of you. That is what makes all this real. The feelings of gratefulness, of happiness, you guys make that real. So thank you. Today, to me, it's kind of the end of something and the beginning of something. It's the end of this long journey, my healing process. It's been a long process. I had tough days, I have to admit that. But today, I feel like that ended. This was my goal, to write a book. And after today, it's not about me anymore. It's not about what happened to me. It's about how I can use that, how we now can use that to help others. So in that sense, it's a new beginning, and it's starting today. And I'm so thankful to share that all with you. In a way, I don't even think I know that this is real. Brad, can I borrow your book? I need to hold on to it to make sure it's real. No wonder how many times I've been going like, to make sure that this is real. It's been a long process. But I just hope and pray that this book will be able to help others. It is a book about hope and healing. And that's what I want others to gain from it. Some hope, some healing. And I have to say, without all of the help and support that I've received along the way, this would have been a really, really sad book. But it's not. I'm so grateful for all the help and support. The police officers, the way they found my offenders 3 days later, that's what made it possible for me to find back to a normal life. The DA's office made sure that they received lifetime. That's what gave me my freedom back. Yeah. And all of you, family and friends, that's what gives me strength every single day. So I want to tell you a little bit about this title of the book, Kill the Silence. It's about killing the silence of rape and abuse in our society. But to me, it's also something personal. That was the word that I wrote down only a few days after. As Erin told you, when I met her, a few weeks after, I handed her my notes. I started the writing process 3 days after this happened to me. After I had gotten to know that my offenders were found and they were in jail. Up until that point, I think I lived in denial. I was scared. I didn't even want to think about what happened to me. I could not talk about it. And for me, I just felt I had all of these emotions inside, and I needed to get them out. So I sat down, a piece of paper and a pen, and I thought to myself, I need to write. I need to empty my head in a way, and I need to write. At first, I wrote December 5th, 2009. And then I started walking around. I put a jacket on, I put the jacket off, had a glass of water, went to the restroom, put the jacket back on again. I was stressed out, and I knew I had to do this. I couldn't that day, but a few days later, back in the same room, with a pen in my hand, and I wrote the words down, kill the silence. And that's when I knew that's where it had to start. For me personally, I had to kill that silence. All those emotions that I had kept inside for so long, I needed to release them. After I wrote down those words, kill the silence, I started to cry. I cried for hours. I felt sad, I felt scared, I felt angry. But I continued to write. Every single day after that, I continued to write. And even though it was tough, feeling all of this, it scared me, it made me sad. But it released a lot. And after all those tears, I felt so much better. So that's when I realized, okay, I have to continue to do this. I have to write for my own sake, for my own healing. So I continued to write. Did not think about a book at that point, not at all. But I continued to write through it all, through the trials, all the ups and downs. There's been a lot of ups and downs, I have to admit that. And one day, in 2011, end of 2011, after the court cases were over, I met with the book agent, Dupree Miller, here in Dallas. And they'd say, well, Monica, have you been thinking about writing a book? And I go, well, I have about 300 pages at home with notes. Maybe you should take a look at them. So we did. And they said, okay, this is going to be a book. Okay, let's do it. And that's when I realized that there might be something in those notes that I can share with others. And hopefully, there's something that they can take away from it. Something that can give other people hope. So we decided to make it a book. About a year later, we went up to New York, met with publishers. My last meeting out of a lot of meetings, I met with Random House. And I knew at that point, yes, that's it. We're a team. The day after, they called me and they said the same. This is it. We're going to work on this together. And here we are. Here it is. So I want to say, the title of the book, Kill the Silence. It was personal to me, and it's also bigger than that. In our world, we need to kill the silence surrounding rape and abuse. We need to talk about it. We need to acknowledge that it's a problem. We need to tackle it. We need to fight it. And the only way we can do that is to do it together. I know I shouldn't thank people by names, but I just have to mention a few. Dallas PD. That's where it started. 3 days later, they were found. I would not have been here today. I would have been scared inside my room if they hadn't been found. The DA's office, lifetime. Woo. And SMU. Everyone at SMU, my friends, professors, my coaches, everyone here, all of the help and support since day one. I think SMU stands as a symbol of how everyone should tackle this. We need to talk about it. SMU, they don't pretend like it doesn't happen. It happens on this campus as in every other campus across the nation. But SMU, they stand up for their students. Safety of the students, that's number one priority. That's an example of how everyone should deal with this. Family and friends, I have two people that I have to mention. My parents, mom and dad, They're here with me tonight. To call them and tell them what had happened to me. That is the worst thing that I ever done. I dialed their number over and over and I tried to come up with a good way of telling them what had happened. But there's no good way to tell parents something like this. So I just had to tell them the truth. But I was scared. They were sitting on the other side of the world back home in Norway. But I told them the truth. Didn't even take them seconds. My mom goes right away, "Monica, you are strong. We know you. And you are not in this alone. We are in this together." That's when I first believed that I would be able to work my way through this and find my way back to a normal life. I admire my parents so much. And they support me through all of this. And believe me, I know it's hard on them. For me even to stand here today and to write this book, I know it's tough because they want to protect me in every way possible. And they even told me, leading up to this, it scares us. Because when you do this, when you talk up openly about this, we don't know how people would respond. They cannot protect me from that, but they trusted me. And they told me, you need to do what you need to do. And we are in it with you. We're in it together. And I have to thank Courtney Underwood, Steve Lansdale, SMU Athletics for helping me to bring this event together today. It's an important day for me, and to share it with all of you means everything. And I think that today, by being here together, I think we prove that love conquers hate in every way. Together, we will fight this issue of rape and abuse. Together, we will fight evil. And together, we will win. Thank you all for being here.
Everything that you felt here tonight, listening to Monica, you will feel 1,000 times over as you're reading this book. This is not a book about pain, it's not a book about hate, it's a book about hope, survival, and forgiveness, and it's incredible. So you're all standing here tonight, which is the first step. The next is to go buy a bunch of these, right? Christmas shopping, done. Buy this for everybody you know. Downstairs there's a ton. We've got boxes and boxes to sell. And she's too sweet, she won't be pushy. So I get to be pushing. But no, seriously, we really can't kill the silence without your support. And every single one of these books that sells, every single person that reads this book, every survivor, every mother who's about to have a baby, every parent who's sending their kids off to college, where 1 out of every 5 female college students would be sexually assaulted during her undergraduate college career. This is a powerful piece of knowledge, it's a powerful piece of hope, and it's a great story for people to read whether they know about this issue or they have no idea what sexual assault really is and what it means to be a survivor, what it means to kill the silence. So we can't do that without you guys. Thank you for being here, but please go buy a bunch of books. Be right over here. Monica's going to be signing books, so if everybody would like to form a line if you want to get your book signed, that's what's happening next.